And here we are again, Jane. We are live again. Hi everyone, nice to see you again. Tonight we're going to be talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman with the difficult name to pronounce for a Christian name. And we'll be given some insights, given some thoughts, given a reading about her really, and to see what we pick up and what feelings we have about where it's going, what she's like, and the rest of it. But first we're going to say hello to you all.
Well, hello, Craig.
Hello.
From over here.
Good evening, Jane and Crane, says Ninan Daimania.
Good evening.
I can't see your network properly. I should wear my glasses.
Hello from a very cold and windy Cornwall.
Still cold down there, yeah, of course it is. But pretty cold here in Winchester too. Like the new logo, by the way. And yes, so hi Pat, that's nice of you. I've got some stuff going on Zoom soon, to Pat, too, for you patrons. Sheila, another patron.
Craig and Jane.
Namaste for Craig and Jane from India. How lovely something.
The Boo Cat. You missed that. Nana says hello.
How's the lovely Boo Cat?
That's
yeah, he's at home, freezing. Yeah, sitting under all the cars. Where he's white, he comes in covered in oil.
Hi from me to you both. Hi, Nana.
Nice to see you, Nana. Soul Talker 5.
That's to say. Neil. Hi, Craig and Jane from Melbourne in Australia. Hi, Neil.
If you're just joining us, we're going to be talking about Gishlane Maxwell.
We've got Jason
tonight.
Slimming World. Hi, guys, from Blackpool.
Oh, good. Well, we can handle that, Jason. Come and give us a bit of slimming. Linda Smith. Hello, Craig and Jane. Nice to see you, Linda.
Patrice
Schultz again.
Oh, snowy Germany, snowing there.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Ray, hello Craig and Jane from Australia.
Probably snowing everywhere, the way the weather's going weird.
TJ, nice to see you, Craig and Jane.
Nice to see you, TJ. You can pronounce her name, Jane?
Well, I have to put my glasses on.
I can't see properly tonight.
Mara West, hi from Australia. You've got new glasses.
I know, I should wear them, shouldn't I, really? Yes.
Ava,
I'm too
hi
vain.
from Florida. Too vain,
I'm
that's
too
more
vain.
like it.
Yeah. Hello from Connecticut, says Dino.
That's right, you got it. Claire E, hi from Florida. Hi, Claire. Sia Guru. 11 a.m. California. Good day. Good day.
Well, that's nice of you to get all of you to get up and see it. Watches. That's good. It's what time are we here? We're about 7 o'clock, aren't we?
We're exactly 7:05. Pauline says hello from Iceland. Craig and Jane.
Yeah, I
kiss,
like
kiss.
Iceland. You can get my books in Icelandic, by the way, or one of them, the Dream Book, Druma. Pauline, eh? Oh, Ireland. I thought she said Iceland. Oh, Ireland. That's my
glasses on. He's just bought new glasses.
The Irish can go and buy my book in Icelandic. That'd do well, wouldn't it?
Gosh.
Sorry. I've not seen it well.
James says, hi, Craig and Jane. Nice to see you tonight. Nice to see and hear from all of you.
Nice to see you, Jamie. Yeah.
Julie, good evening from a snowy Scotland. Oh.
I love cheese. Avocados.
William, hi Craig and Jane from
go on then.
From Gaborone,
Botswana.
You didn't let me finish, Craig.
I don't know if I pronounced it right. Hi from Germany. Nice to see you. Hi, Jana.
Jana. Natasha, good evening. So nice to see you. Good evening, Natasha.
Fleming is saying hello, Craig and Jane from Copenhagen in Denmark.
Copenhagen, yeah, Denmark.
And we're going to be talking about Ghislaine Maxwell. She's the sort of difficult name you get up on the screen.
Cheryl, hiya, Craig and Jane from Massachusetts.
Thank you very much from Massachusetts. Yes, comes very regular. Violetta is saying hello, Craig and Jane from Paris.
Oh,
Gay Paris.
Jackie, hello Craig and Jane and Boo. You both look lovely as always. Love from Kentucky.
I'm glad people are reasonably complimentary to us, aren't they? Craig, you look bleary-eyed tonight. Why are you wearing jeans?
Kentucky, they have Kentucky races there too, quite famous.
So that's the hellos it looks like we're done with. So we're going to talk about, good evening. From Iceland. Oh, we have one from Iceland.
Not Ireland.
Not Ireland.
Where's your glasses, Craig?
In Iceland, you could buy my book in Irish. One of my books.
If not, it'd be Japan, wouldn't it, Craig?
Actually, it was lovely when I went to Iceland. That
Right,
time.
lady,
Iceland that time. It was fabulous.
tuck your shirt in, Craig. He is an
See?
untidy man.
I always wear my shirt over because it doesn't show your fat belly so much.
Oh, you said it.
So, Ghislaine Maxwell. You know a lot more about it than I do, Jane, but I mean...
Well, I wasn't there. When you say a lot more about... You know.
But I know you've been following
you
it a
say-
lot in the news.
Yeah, but I wasn't there. The way you said it, as if I was there watching it all.
Yeah, but it's quite a big thing at the moment, isn't it? Really, I mean, where do we go with it?
Well, I believe
with
the
that
court
woman?
case is actually going on for 6 weeks.
Yeah, so we're going to get a lot of revelations over the next period.
Yeah.
And it might be quite interesting. We have a think about coughing a bit more, getting rid of that. Have a think about what she's like, who she is, where do we think the trials are going to go, and we're going to take some questions from people, and what do we think is going to come out of this?
Well, I think it says a lot about it. I believe the aeroplane was called Lolita
That was
Express.
the nickname of it. It wasn't
Yeah.
called, but it was called the nickname of that.
No, I
which-
believe it was called that.
Yeah, that was, they nicknamed it that.
Yeah,
So that was a
Lolita.
pretty. That the pilot was testified already, and he was.
Well, he did say, the pilot, because he'd been working quite a few years, he did see young girls on there and very high-powered men.
Yeah, he hasn't said anything yet that is absolutely damning. But I think if the very name, the nickname of the plane, you know,
Well, you
with
remember-
14-year-old girls.
You remember Lolita was about a young girl and an older man absolutely infatuated with her. Do you remember that film, black and white movie?
Got Lolita, yeah. Well, we all know what that was about. It was about abuse of young children, kids, really. Young
Not
girls.
children, Craig,
Well,
a
14-year-olds
young girl.
Yes, 14-year-olds is still a child, and particularly in America.
I think
mean,
you are in
you don't
some
become
way.
adult in America until you're 21. So you know, it's a pretty, heavy sort of thing.
Just because people have got money and got power, they think they get away with anything. But no, I believe in karma. It might take its way to work its way through, and this is what's happening at the moment. Everybody will be accountable for their actions with this.
I wonder about the actual psychology of Ghislaine Maxwell, because, I mean, she was daddy mad, wasn't she? Really, when you
Well,
look
she
at
was
it.
spoiled, wasn't privileged, but on a privileged Jewish background.
Yeah, but her father, what a weird sort of man to be brought up with. I don't, how many kids did he have altogether? He had 9 kids on total.
Yeah, we don't
something like that, I
forget
think.
the children, they were very strict with them as well, because they were brought up basically with servants, and I believe she was...
And he had such a lot of power, and I always wonder about because sometimes men want money, sometimes, and sex goes with money and power often, but mostly men want power. And if you go into the media, I mean, you have huge political power. So what did she see as a child? You know, because as a child she must have she was daddy mad, and there's this man that could fire someone like that, and did. I believe he was brutal to his employees, and sacked someone at the drop of a hat for nothing whatsoever.
A brute of a man, I would say.
So this was the person she was putting up admiring.
Yes, and he even named a luxury yacht after her.
Oh yes, he did, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So he was a little bit obsessed with her.
well, it's because she was the youngest child and that, and I believe she didn't have a lot of attention when she was a very young child, from the age of 4 upwards, and then suddenly she got all the attention and that, because
It makes
remember,
me think about.
they're very much social people and they had big parties and
But I think about her psychology, you know, as much as anything. And there's a real load of Freud going on here, really, isn't there? About the girl wanting to possess the father, you know? I think there might have been almost a unnatural chemistry there.
No, I think a lot of it really is what I would call psychology transference, where she just wanted to be loved, and her father, the older man, I mean, the fellow she was involved with, that Jeffrey, he wasn't an older man same age as her father, Craig.
No. But what I'm saying,
Power.
I'm trying to think
It's
what
power.
makes the woman tick. To because she's, in a way, in my opinion, she's
Control.
a bit like
It's control.
she's a bit like Maura Hindley was.
I wouldn't say she's Maura Hindley.
Because the women kind of like to impress the man. They become the one that goes out and becomes the one that gets the victims, like Maura Hindley did to get the victims. Well,
Difference between Maura Hindley, we're talking about somebody that controlled with murders. Big difference. She hasn't murdered.
But I'm
any.
still thinking. I'm thinking of the psychology
it's all about,
of it.
There was a book of code of conduct that there was about 59 rules in this book, that everything had to be precise. So this woman had perfection around her, like a cup and saucer, the handle had to be like that. Pens left by the bed, glasses left by the bed. You weren't allowed to look at anybody in the eyes. You had to look down and ask permission. So it's all about control.
And that comes into
perfection.
And that comes into their sexual behaviour too, about control over people, isn't it? Because young girls can be controlled. They're like victims. They're like new to everything. They're innocent.
Well,
and it's this power thing. This is why I say it's her father must have had an influence.
Well, I don't know about
with
that.
this idea of power over
But
people, I think.
These young girls were very vulnerable girls, and they were made great promises with their careers, and they were told that they could set them up, like doing massage and actresses and all kinds of things. Well, and most of them had come from broken homes as well, which is interesting. So they were vulnerable. So you imagine a 14-year-old or a girl under 20 that's come from a home with nothing and suddenly going into all this wealth with all these beautiful mansions, villas and everything, and then told them, you're our friend, we're going to buy you nice Chanel handbags, we're going to take this and make it. And suddenly they get a woman's trust. So the woman is the front person, so to pull young girls in for the trust, right? And then they manipulate them. You've got to give this man 3 massages a day. And then, can you imagine, like a 14-year-old that never seen a man naked and suddenly been told to do these horrible things?
Yeah, pretty shocking, isn't it? And there was definitely, the thing I think about is how much money was behind this. Because if they could put, I think it was $121 million sort of fund they put aside for paying people off if things went wrong. Because they paid that girl Jane off $5 million or something, I seem to remember. Shut up money. But if that's the sort of money you could put aside, how much money was changing hands? Because money must have changed hands in this whole situation. What scale of money, possibly, if the Royals were involved, from our public purse being used, maybe, could be, we don't know. But I mean, I think the scale of it.
And another thing, Craig, what they used to do when these young girls, imagine they were on an island and they couldn't escape, could they? Because they were transported there by aeroplane or helicopter, and then they had a chauffeur that picked them up, took them to this island, so they couldn't escape. And they used to put $100 bills in these cars, so they could have turned around and said these girls would prostitute themselves. So they had a hold on them.
Yeah, exactly. It makes me think
these young girls had to walk around naked, not naked, topless.
And the thing that worries me is if this is what went on in this one case, is this an isolated situation? Or out there, is this sort of thing going on by default? Are these people who are the sort of the hidden persuaders in our society, the people that pull the purse strings of governments and huge corporate organisations, how much money is being exchanged hands that we don't know about? Is this the tip of the iceberg? Because I think this is the tip of an iceberg that's far bigger than the Epsteins and all the rest of it. This is something that I think is endemic. Who knows what goes on in China, Russia, America, all the places where you can put stuff hide stuff away.
This isn't something new, is it, Craig? This has been going on centuries.
But it makes you wonder the scale of it.
Yes, the scale of it. But the big difference is money is power, and it's all about control, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it usually starts from the top, abuse, and works its way down. And there's cover-ups. But these people will be accountable for their actions, in my opinion. In my opinion, I feel very much that she won't get away with it.
No, I think, and the thing is, who is going to be exposed? There's already potential people who have been implicated. I mean, Bill Clinton is implicated because he knew the guy. Even Trump is implicated. I don't think Trump would do anything like that. Clinton, he's already, you know, he's already been seen as not being able to keep his trousers closed.
Zips.
And then we got George. Who was that? Who was that on there?
Stacey.
Oh yes, what's his name? Stacey.
Kevin Stacey.
Spacey. Yeah.
And there'll be film stars.
And the banker
there'll be
from
judges. There's a lot more, but I honestly can't see them trying to crucify Prince Andrew.
But then what about the Saudis? That's a princess in the Saudis
Well,
as well.
they'll all be subpoenaed. Whether it'll work or not is another matter.
That's why I say I think this is the tip of the iceberg. Because what
Right.
can you, if you were those people, there's two things you can do. You can either, first of all, you deny it. They deny, and that's what she's doing.
Very
Deny,
good.
deny.
Right. Apple's saying, were Epstein, Ghislaine linked to spying? Were they using the girls to blackmail? I believe that's so, and I believe
Exactly.
there's a black book with all and I got a feeling they videoed all this as well, and it's hidden
Of
somewhere.
course, because you
It
think
might be. Wait a minute, Craig. It might be in Switzerland, so they've got power over high-powered people yet. A lot's to come out, and especially with Prince Andrew.
And you think of the power that you would have over somebody if you've got compromising video on all these people, you know, and not just these. I think we've only seen the tip of the iceberg. You could have huge political control.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's the sort of thing that is the essence of spying. Do you think Prince Andrew will be prosecuted for his involvement?
In my opinion, Prince Andrew will not get quite away with it because he's well protected at the moment while the Queen is alive. But once the Queen passes,
this is what I said.
Then it's all going to go down like a pack of cards.
Yeah, he'll be protected until the Queen is gone. And once the Queen is gone, I don't think Charles would, if Charles is king, which I think he will be, I think this is all going to happen soon, like I said. But I think once Charles is king, I don't think he's not, because Andrew to the Queen is like the baby, isn't he? She's spoilt him.
It's not the baby. It's Edward is
but no,
the youngest.
but she treats him like the baby.
Well,
you know,
it's
she
her
treats him
favourite.
like her favourite. She treats him like the one that can't do anything wrong. But once she's out the way, I don't think Charles would have the same sort of wouldn't be prepared to keep covering it up, particularly if it threatened the whole future of the royal family, which at that time would be in the balance, because you've got the change of a monarch. You know, it's going to be a time when people are going to be questioning whether we should have a royal family or not.
I don't quite understand it.
I still feel she was involved, but as a fall guy. So they're talking about her taking the rap for Epstein, aren't they? I think there's so much more Bohemian Grove shenanigans that we are not able to break. Yeah, so there's all sorts of stuff going on that we'll never get to the bottom of it. I don't think.
But this woman,
too many people got too much to lose.
Yeah, but this woman should be accountable for her actions, because it's not right to involving all these girls against their will. And I'm really pleased that we've got a lady judge and that is not going to let them get away with it.
Yeah, and that I think would be another issue, because if I was Epstein with that mindset of that man, I would not only would I want to get politicians compromised and bankers compromised, but I'd want to get the legal system compromised and the police compromised and anybody that can prosecute me compromised, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So have we got high court judges there? I think they've infiltrated right through the lot.
We have.
You know, high up, probably in the CIA.
As I say, it all
somewhere
goes
like that.
up to the top and it comes all the way down to the bottom.
Right, because they're talking to the top level. And how much more goes on out there that we haven't even the slightest knowledge of? Other people.
Kirkberg, can you talk about what Epstein's Island was really used for, satanic rituals? I don't believe that for one moment.
You don't think there's nothing satanic with it?
No,
I know a lot
don't.
of people have been thinking about that.
Now, what I can't get my head around, if this woman's meant to be pure, I'm talking about Ghislaine, in my opinion, a woman does not have a great big 6-foot painting by 6 foot wide of her naked with her legs open wide. And
you
also,
wouldn't have that done,
yeah,
would you?
no, would you, Craig? And not only that, I believe they liked pink bed sheets because it reminded him of people's genitalia.
Yeah. Yeah. I never look at
He's
pink
an
bed
addict,
sheets
isn't
in
he?
the same
He's an
way.
addict. He's an addict for money and he's addict for sex.
Yeah, yeah.
He's an addict.
It's funny how sex and power go together. These are people whose spiritual level is based on the first chakras. Nothing has ever happened to them other than their focus is on the lowest levels they can possibly come to. And money, sex, power, materialism, they are the driving force of some people and can be very powerful driving forces.
Now you listen here, notes. I know you don't like the Clintons because you're a Trumper, but to even insinuate Trump is not involved is beyond me. We really don't know these people.
Well, we don't know on any of them, obviously, but this is all supposition. I kind of, perhaps Trump, well, I'm not saying Trump wasn't involved, he could have been, because I mean, he's just as much likelihood he is as Clinton in many ways. But my feeling with the man, and he's done a lot of real, you know, pretty bad stuff when it comes to sexual stuff, Trump has in his history. I can't see him, I don't know, I just can't see him doing that somehow. I'm not. I know. I kind of quite like Trump.
He's got daughters himself, hasn't he?
Yeah, I can't. But this is just my gut feeling with it, and that's not because I don't like Clinton
Craig,
and that.
it doesn't matter if you're American or English, Russian or Spanish. You shouldn't be doing that with young girls.
None of them should be involved.
You shouldn't be doing that. And as I say, they will all be accountable for, and it's going to. We're going to have a lot more things that's going to come out yet, and shocking things.
And the danger is, you see, we're going to also have lots of people implicated who are completely innocent and have had nothing to do with it. You know, bankers and stars and the rest of it. They're all going to be pulled in. Because Epstein was sort of got as many people as possible and create as much confusion and web as possible. So there's going to be a mixture of guilty people with innocent people at the same time.
Now, Dee's saying the woman Baldwin shot was in the process of creating a documentary regarding sexual predators in Hollywood. I think there's always been sexual predators in Hollywood, and I know when we've been to film in Cannes and things, we've even heard people in conversation next to us about going with Russian prostitutes. I wanted to get my teapot and whack him on the head while his wife was waiting at home.
I thought it was funny. We overheard a conversation, didn't we? It was the people on the other table. They were film directors, and they were talking about their away from their wives and what they were doing with these Russian prostitutes.
I was angry.
And Jane was there with steam coming out of your ears, weren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, those people! I'm going to say something in a minute.
But getting back to Alex Baldwin, that. I believe that was an accident with that gun. I truly do. I don't think there was any conspiracy or anything.
But then the problem is this whole negative sort of abuse of people, really. You know, not just girls, boys as well. And all through, it's through these industries, isn't it? And it's only recently with the, you know, we've started to expose all the problems in Hollywood, and people have had the courage to talk about it.
Yes.
And that's an area you kind of almost, in a nasty, horrible sort of way, kind of expect it to happen. But in other areas, you know, we've always heard about the casting couch, but you know, in other areas of life, if you want to get on in politics, you've got to do horrible things. If you want to get on in business, you've got to do horrible things. You know, how much is there out there, and how many people are going to try to cover this up? In fact, I think the most incredible thing about it all is that we've actually seen any of it, because I would have thought there's so many people that are trying to clamp down on this.
Yeah.
Let's hope it exposes the rest.
It will do. Claire's saying, you're not going to believe this. Einstein was arrested at the massage parlour about a few miles away from me. I would have never suspected. Well, you wouldn't, would you? Because they've got all probably electronic gates and you don't know what goes on in people's surroundings or houses, do you?
No. I mean, that's the same that people often when they these mass murderers and things, you suddenly discover the next door, and people say, "Oh, he was such a lovely, polite person."
That's right.
You know, all the time. It's the least. It's the still waters run deep, don't they?
They do. The devil down the end to the bottom of the sea.
Andrew has daughters too. Can't believe someone would do that too. Yeah, and yeah, I guess that's true as well, isn't it? Yeah. Is this like the end of Rome? That's
that's a good one.
very good apple. Yeah, excesses as a result of too much money.
Yes.
Yeah, and because the problem today is that it always happens. It always happens in all society.
Think, Craig?
One or two take it all.
There might have even been drugs involved in
oh,
this.
sure
cocaine.
thing. I'm sure thing, and probably terrorism, the lot. I mean, who knows what's been sponsored? But the problem is, in societies, you always end up with one or two taking it all. We're seeing it in the companies nowadays. One or two companies now dominate the internet. It was there for everybody. One or two companies dominate the food market,
do you know
dominate
what
the banking.
this reminds me of? This orgy, what happened there. Do you remember that film called Shrimp? And they had this secret order with these men that had masks on, and they had all young girls. That's what that reminds me of.
It reminds me of Nazi Germany and all the things and the excesses that went on there. And I wonder what goes on behind the scenes, places we don't know about. What does Xi Jinping do in China? What sort of things goes on in Russia? There must be a worldwide network for these things.
Is there a possibility that Einstein was set up and killed in prison like suicide? No, I think he didn't want to face. It would be the ultimate, not just in denial and the ego.
He hated to lose the power.
Yeah, and he would. So he'd rather opt out, a coward.
It's like real dictators and things. They'd rather die than face humiliation, because the whole thing, their life has been about power over other
Money,
people.
luxury.
And then for others to have power over them, it's not money, it's power. It's power.
Nana says, Epstein expressly had a yacht. Do you think that Meghan was one of those, and maybe me, Andrew there? Well, I can't speak on that. I don't pick that up. I don't think Meghan has anything to do with this whatsoever. I really don't.
Okay. Yeah, it's a horrible thing though, isn't it, really, all of this? I mean, the way the world goes now, I think values generally out there in the world are shocking, really. I mean, we seem to have a sort of veneer of society, and behind it, such terrible things go on. So little spirituality and so much.
If you were to analyse at this Epstein, he had to have yachts, helicopters, aeroplanes, the very, very best of everything. And I found another interesting thing, and this was what I read, was that he only wanted white girls. He didn't want girls that were coloured. Now, why is that?
No, I don't know. I don't think that would. I can't know. The man was obviously. It was power he wanted, and it was not just the sex for him. It was the power
control
over everybody. You think the power he has over the royal, a royal person, whatever, from wherever, what sort of power he would have, and he's secretly knowing that I could always use this, that I got, like you said, I'm sure there's going to be videotapes of somewhere.
There is.
I mean, whoever could get hold of those files, though, they've probably been massively deleting everywhere. But God knows what sort of holds they'd have. A simple photograph can destroy a person's marriage, or a simple photograph can destroy a person's reputation. And a videotape let loose on the internet, you could bring down governments.
There's a lot of psychology going there on these young girls, so you think about it. And it's disgusting to think that a woman would use... What kind of woman, if you've got a man, would want other young girls and doing horrible things with them? What's wrong with her?
Yeah, you see, younger girls are attractive to men, but then there's a certain limit when they start to get attracted to, prepubescent girls,
teenage girls
and young teenage girls. I mean, there's a danger to that, and there's a certain amount of sort of, again, it's like power over the innocent. There's something abusive about abusing the innocent.
It's like the Roman times.
What ladies that said about whoever it was, I think it was said about Rome. Our society is going the same way as Rome, isn't it? Really. I mean, the things we get on the internet again. What is most popular, what goes up Facebook, what goes up YouTube, is what is ever most popular. Not as what's the most cultured or what's best made. It's purely what is most popular.
Ratings.
And if we were to take that same thing. It would be the Gladiators Forum would become the
Yes,
most
yeah.
popular.
Should we read this
It would
one?
be orgies. It would be the most popular. You know, we've got no moral controls. You know,
Yes.
God, imagine if when I was a hippie, hearing me talk like this. But it is true. It's gone
Should we
too
read
far
this
the
one?
other way. Ghislaine's father was an operative connected to the Mossad. That's the Israeli
I
Secret
know.
Service. Yeah, I didn't know that, and it doesn't surprise me in some ways. I mean, Mossad would probably, you know, and the Russians and the Chinese secret services would probably have all had an interest in this if they'd known about it, because they would be looking for stuff that could we get hold of some of the stuff to compromise people.
Yeah.
Someone's doing it for us.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we don't need to set them up with love traps and honey traps, do we? We've got it. Someone's doing it for us. All we have to do is break into their information. And I bet there's something. I think there's stuff sat away, probably in China, probably in Russia. You know,
Like I said,
when
all
the
over
election
world.
times come.
Yeah.
You know, remember those little tapes we had? You know, when it's times for trade barriers with China.
Yeah.
Maybe we ought to keep those trade barriers down a bit, because, you know, guess what could happen to you if we showed you these videos?
Right, Agility
We don't know
Bid
how deep
says,
it goes.
do you think everything really will come out? I bet a lot of people will be prosecuted. I bet,
Protected. Yeah.
yeah, I bet a lot of people are shaking these men in their boots at that moment.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, she's Pat's absolutely right there.
Yeah.
There's so many people are compromised, and I think particularly in the legal service and the police forces and internationally, that we're not going to get fully to the bottom out of it. I think we'll get some. There'll be some thrown to the lions, won't there?
Do you
But
remember?
I reckon that the real
I must bring this
perpetrators
up.
will
Do you
get
remember
away.
a couple of years ago when Ghislaine Maxwell disappeared? They didn't know where she was, and I think we were out, and I had a vision that I saw woods, trees,
Oh
a
yeah, you
ranch.
said about it on this program.
Yeah, and I saw a rock, and it was interesting because they actually traced her. She was living at a ranch, and it was called Rock Ranch.
Oh yeah, I remember,
remember?
when you said, and that's what I said on air.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on one of the programs we did here when we did it live, didn't
Yep.
we? And you said about that when she gone missing. So you got that right. So
Misinformation. What you said about video bringing down governments, is this why they're trying to silence people on social media? Do you think US government is scared of being taken down by way of social media? Yes, it wouldn't surprise me.
yeah, I think so too.
I do. Do you?
Because again, who's been compromised in social media? Because again, the people who control the social media, it might not necessarily always be the guys at the top. It could be people further down the tree. I mean, you can swing political opinion, public opinion with social media. I mean, once you're able to blackmail people, it doesn't take one or two people can control a lot of people nowadays. You know, whoever's at the top of the tree, controlling what we see on television, what we see on the news, what we see on social media, all those things are controlled by somebody. They say, oh, it's an algorithm. Yeah, but someone tweaks that algorithm to make it go the way they want to go. You just turn the dial slightly and public opinion can change. So the fact is, this is another situation where democracy's being compromised. All the way along, democracy's being compromised. And it's being compromised by big business. It's being compromised, potential blackmail for all these type of things we're talking about today. It's being compromised by all of the things such as, you know, money focused on huge international companies that can swing elections, and so, you know, I think all of us nowadays feel completely out of control because all of this corruption on so many levels is just being covered up and ignored. We live in an illusionary society.
Yeah. Right. Nusha, I am a firm believer that karma is generated. If you
Generational.
If you put massive amounts of bad out there, you and those of your family pay for like karma. Well,
the sins of the father are visited upon the sons.
Yeah. The thing is, it can also be from previous incarnations' karmic actions. So every thought that goes out to the etheric are real thoughts. So people think they get away with things, but they don't. Generally, it catches up with them, doesn't it, Craig?
Yeah, I'm not so sure I believe karma's generational, that it goes down like almost like a DNA.
We're all
almost there.
different.
But maybe it affects the DNA that passes the physical characteristics down.
No, everyone's accountable for their actions.
But I think
Craig.
what you put out comes back.
It does,
and the cosmic boomerang does work, and even sometimes it feels that it doesn't. We think, how do all the bad people get away with so much so often?
They think they do.
But I think it comes back in the end, and I think we're going to see a change in the energy of this world. At the moment, it's the darkness before the dawn. I feel the whole world has a very dark energy, and I think everybody kind of feels it at the moment. You know, we feel it in what we see on TV and what we see on social media, what we see in just ordinary people we pass on the street sometimes. We see selfishness everywhere, and there are people that go around not wearing masks when everybody else is, or not joining in with things when we're fighting together
very
towards
much a
things.
me society
It's selfish,
now.
me. Yeah, my personal freedoms are more important than your freedoms.
Yeah.
And we've got such a lot of selfishness so it's on all levels, and also the people at the top of the tree and the bottom of the tree are all as bad.
Condescending.
But the pendulum swings, and I think we might get a swing now to more greater spiritual
Jasmine
understanding.
says most of the rich live
live sordid life.
If I found they pay and get away with murder, well, perhaps they do in the Arab state, but it does catch up with them, doesn't it, Craig?
Everywhere. I mean, if you've got money, you're respected.
And you get people give you free gifts too.
Well, when we've been out before, when we've got dressed up and I put my chalk striped suit on when we're going off to do a show or something, we're both dressed up to the nines, people almost fall over themselves to serve you and things like that. And they almost want to give you something for nothing, you know? And I think, you idiots. You know, you suddenly think because you take things on such superficial levels.
I remember going to Eddie Irvine's book launch in London, and I was with some famous people, I won't mention their names, and someone said, "Who are you?" I said, "Who are you? What's your name?" I said, "You mean you don't recognise who I am, young man? Shame on you." And walked away.
Yeah, we played the game, and that time we were in Harrods, and we'd just come off the big breakfast, and there was James Bond. What was the other James Bond?
Sean Connery?
Not Sean Connery. Was sat next to us on the other table.
On the other table?
Yeah.
Oh, he's talking about Roger Moore.
Roger Moore, that's it. Roger Moore was sat on the opposite table to us, and we were sat there, and these people come running over
to me,
and Roger Moore's just ready to start to sign autographs. And they missed this table and came to us. "Oh, Craig and Jane, we've seen you on telly."
Yeah, that was funny.
His face was funny because he thought, "Oh, who are they?" That people, such superficial things guide our society.
I can remember
such stupid,
another thing when we
things.
went to a director's theatre night. Ben Kingsley had to get by me, and I was a bit, God's sake, I've got to move. And he turned around and he blew me a kiss. And all these people turned round to say, "Who's she?" Do you remember?
Yeah. Well, he was sat next to you, wasn't he? Ben Kingsley on your side, wasn't he?
Yeah,
that's right. Funny. Yeah. We put the wrong value on things, actually.
Well,
I mean,
actors, they're only playing Let's Pretend, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, Aussie girl saying, "I believe the Queen has passed already." This is a theory going around that the Queen is a duplicate, is a substitute, an actress.
Well, I'm a substitute, Diana Dawes, you know.
I get the Queen has been dead for some time now too. A lot of people think that. Well, actually, I don't think so. I think the stuff we're getting from the transmissions about the Queen, they seem to be pretty.
She had a strange
not
back
pre-recorded,
injury, didn't she?
But I think she's, like I've said, I think she's going to go this year, which I think would be very sad.
Well, I hope she makes it to next year, actually.
Yeah, I think she'll just make it to the end of this year. I think between 2022 and 2023. I'm sad to say.
Yeah, Apple.
Yeah.
Will this trial at least prompt us to go into a better direction?
Well, I was hoping the COVID would point us all in a better direction and start us to start thinking less selfishly. And it seems like, and I thought it would, and I think it does for a lot of people. I think people are thinking about the world and what's right and wrong, but the problem is it seems like people go straight back, don't they, to the same old Facebook nonsense that they post and things people put up, and the same old trolling of the internet and things like that. It's hard to see. I think it's going to. I like to say a lot that I really do believe, and I think you agree with me, Jane, don't you? That there's going to be a spiritual awakening over the coming years in our lifetimes, a big one. That's going to be like a revolutionary change to the world. And I don't think it's going to. It won't come from things like this. These things will be kind of the dark that will contrast against the light. But I think we're going to see some movements where there's very highly awakened people in the world, miraculous powers, not just speakers, but miraculous powers.
Right, Mikhail says, what do you guys think regarding flight log lists being released of people who travel to Epstein? I think they are being released at this very moment because that pilot has to register that, and he's already given a few names, and there's some more names. This judge that they've got knows a lot more, and that's why she wouldn't have her out on bail. She's going to get her, definitely going to get her.
Yeah, and I think the flight log, I mean, anybody flying, they have to log who's on the flight.
Of course.
So that is going to be, in many ways, the key, because that's an official document you have. Now, just because they've flown to Love Island or whatever you wanted to call it, it doesn't mean to say that they're guilty. But then why are they going to these places when we know what goes on there? And if we can have, if there's footage of what goes on there, like you say, I think you're right in saying that there's going to be perhaps some video evidence there of some sort. And whether that gets revealed or not. But
he's filmed, this guy, it's clever, he filmed people in his New York. He's had a house in New York, and I believe a place in Florida. And he also had another place all over the place.
The thing that worries me is the scale of the money that's exchanged hands here. That 121 million slush fund, as it were, worries me, because that's a hell of a lot of money, which means that's the tip of the iceberg of the sheer scale of money that transferred. So that scale of money is not going to come from one or two people, is it? It's going to come from a lot of people. So we've only heard about a few people that have been unfortunate enough to have got caught in the headlights at the moment. But God knows how many there are in the background, and how many are covering up for each other. How many people are quaking in their boots at this present time.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised, Craig. There's not some form of a secret society linked up with this. I'm 100% sure.
I've got a feeling there might be a data leak of some sort, I think we might see something where another, WikiLeaks type data link might suddenly happen. I mean, that's the only way these people are going to get exposed.
There's a secret society, a bit like the Freemasons, but you'll be surprised who's in it.
But this is one of the implications of all this, because a lot of people talk about this sort of... the different, I don't like the names for it, but they're like a hidden society of people that are ruling the world from the backstage, as it were, behind the stage. But this does hint at things like that, doesn't it? It does make those type of things much more believable. If this sort of thing goes on and this level of corruption goes on in the background, what does it say for what other things go on? Not just the sexual stuff, but what other money's changing hands behind scene in order to get what they personally want and their desires of, whether it be, political power and all those other things, How deep is the corruption in our society? I know that none of us really trust it now.
He's a bit like
none of us trust
Nero,
the politicians.
wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. It's like Rome.
Nero.
It is just like the times of ancient Rome. And that ancient Rome went on for 2,000 years and more, didn't it? I mean, and that corruption was there for a long, long time. And it's easier to hide yourself nowadays,
I think we'll also find from very powerful people that's linked up with this, there's going to be a few that's going to commit suicide before it goes to trial.
That's likely, isn't it? That's an interesting prediction. And if the trial was publicised, everything would be different. That's very true, Dee, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it needs to be filmed and shown. I mean, just like, all the famous ones in the past where they've had major sort of inquest, Oliver North and all that business. This surely is in the public interest, because we're talking about public figures, and maybe, we can start to judge from the facial movements of the expressions on the person. We can get a pretty good impression of a person if they're lying or not,
no,
can't we? If we also
Apple
see it.
I heard that he was from a one-parent family, and he only lived in a very small, in Brooklyn, in a terrace place, what we'd call a terrace place, and suddenly went into financial services and things. But I wasn't aware he's a maths teacher.
But he's not made his money from anything other than really corrupt practices,
absolutely.
really. So he's been sort of, you know, doing deals with rich people right from the start.
Money laundering, that's
right.
Yeah.
Money laundering and things like that. And more. I'm sure there's much, much more.
Because sex always sells, doesn't it?
Sorry?
Sex always sells.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, all the time. Every single product out there has got some sexual implication or power implication to it.
Melissa Solutions. I love the subjects you choose to cover. Sidebar but Epsom. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, we do try to entertain you with things.
We do go for some interesting topics sometimes, don't we?
Yeah.
And
so that's right. You've got the good and the evil. So there's a balance in the good and evil.
I think sometimes picking up a controversial subject like this, in some ways, it's a bit harder to talk about in some ways, because you're always, of course, worried. You know, you don't want to say something that could get you in trouble. And this is just opinion, what we're saying here, really, a psychic type of opinion, but it's still ultimately opinion. But I think these things do have to be aired and talked about, because, I mean, it's affecting, and it's not just, it's affecting the whole world, really, because these things are almost symbolic of so much that's going wrong in the world, you know. There's no, even the comedy that's out there, I always think, you know, the comedians we were talking about today, weren't we? I mean, it's always so destructive to people. It's always so hateful. You've got nothing that's
swearing. They don't need to swear, do they?
Yeah, and there's always uses foul language in order to get its point across, which can be okay in the right context in the movie and things, but it's like it's used all the time until there's nothing. I don't know. Everything's gross.
Fleming says, "What is your opinion on the big TV media like John Edwin?" I have no opinion on the subject.
Colin Fry had a few opinions with me, I must say, but the man's dead now, so I won't say. I won't.
No, you shouldn't.
We did have some conflicts with Colin Fry over one of the shows, and we nearly went to court with him over things. But that's another. That's past now, and it's up to him. Has it benefited spirituality? Is it also about fame and money? Well, all names aside, and John Edwards seems like a good man, but all names aside, I think most things do get compromised, and I think a lot of the stuff for TV mediums has been compromised. A lot of the shows that I've been on, and they've done things, and they said, well, don't you need some more information? Don't you want us to feed you some information about this? I say, no, I don't want to be told things in advance. So I know that some of the mediums out there definitely cheated, and there's a lot that were just given information in advance, particularly if you're doing celebrities. And you see it all the time. I mean, the skeptics are doing that job. I don't need to do that job, and people would condemn us as well. And I've seen innocent good mediums being torn to bits by the media. So where do you begin? And I'm not going to get into a case of damaging, talking about other people. It's, you know, the thing with mediumship, I think you need to see it live, really. If you're watching it live, you're usually best to get the clearer picture if that medium can do their job. And the best of all, actually, is in spiritualist churches, you know, because they do it all for free. But anyway, don't forget, guys, because it would be nice if you could subscribe and hit the...
Craig, talk up.
Have we got a problem with my mic?
Yes, it's been 20 minutes that I'm trying to tell you.
No, sorry. Shall I take this out? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah? Is that better?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. You've
So
got
everything you talked about, nobody's heard you.
No, nobody's heard me. Well, that's fine.
Karma.
I think that was God saying, shut him up. So don't forget to... Sorry, now I start coughing. Subscribe and hit the bell buttons if you want to keep... If you enjoy our shows, do follow us and hit that bell button, and then you'll get updates every week. There's lots going on our channel all the time. This has been the time of year when I've been kind of putting loads of videos out about predictions and things, which you'll be able to watch. And, you know, Jane's... comes on for the Fridays, and you're going to be doing some stuff on Facebook too, aren't you, Jane?
Well, I'm going to have a channel put up exclusively, Coffee with Jane.
Yeah.
And talk about psychic things.
That would be nice too. Sort of a laid back sort of chat type of show. So keep following us, you know, and if you really want to see what's going on, become a patron. Because all of this around us, this set we've got, this studio that we're working from at the moment, is being supported by patrons who give a little bit each month. And it only needs to be a tiny bit, you know, and it's just a regular sort of payment they make. And it helps us to make all this possible tonight, you know. We could do with an awful lot more, I must say, because we want to take it up to another stage and, you know, buy some more equipment and things like that. And on the patron site, you know, we put a few extras up there. We do some Zoom meetings. I'm doing a Zoom meeting this week with some of the patrons. You can come in and chat to me on Zoom. And once a month, I do these full moon readings. And it's a place to interact. So it helps us to move this and maybe sort of be able to do something more charitable, you know, going out and doing some charitable work once we get the money flowing. So thanks for all the patrons, many of whom have been saying comments tonight. So, any more questions? Last questions. So I suppose we'll come to the last questions now. Hopefully if my mic is working still. We'd have to look at these. So we could do with some more mics then, couldn't we? So patrons, we need some more mics.
Right. Nana says, do you think that Epstein's workings could be a worldwide business with secret underground tunnels?
Well, I don't know about underground tunnels, but I think it's a worldwide network.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was hinting at when I was talking about Russia and China, the usual enemies, and Saudi Arabia maybe. Who knows what goes on behind the scenes? Because everything nowadays is global, isn't it? All what we do nowadays, all the businesses, global. This show, you know, it's global. It's coming out from Winchester here, but it's going out to all of you all over the world. Yeah. Everything's interconnected. And good stuff's interconnected, but so's the bad stuff. And these guys, you can fly around the world instantly nowadays in quick times. God knows what goes on behind the scenes. So I think all of this is a worldwide business. That's why I say we've only found the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, we could do with a tunnel from here to our house.
Yeah, you're thinking of that idea then, yeah.
A shopping tunnel.
Yeah. How is the Spiritualist Centre project going? When will it be up and running to visit? Well, this is the first stage of it. The first stage is to get it as a small place in Winchester. But in order to get it onto a grander scale, we need grander money. Hopefully, we might be able to do something with the, you know, make some applications to the lottery funds and things. We are at the moment looking at full charitable status. So we're going switching from not-for-profit company into charitable status. So we don't have big funds, guys. You know, we don't have big funds at all. But we are grateful for all the small amounts that all of you give. And the more you give, the more we can do. If you do more card shows, it's not the mic, it's me. Concord show. If you do more Concord shows, please do it at weekends so we can all attend. We have asked that they be.
Because it's important.
Yeah, well, we raised a fair old bit of money there.
And it goes straight into.
And every penny of what we've done in the last show, which we didn't film it this time because we've done 2 shows so far on just recently. And all that, every penny that goes into it, we don't even take a meal out of it, do we? Or any petrol money or anything. We just do the show. All the money goes into this, into the charitable trust. So that's all there to help what you're seeing now, and hopefully to be able to do much, much more. You know, not just build a centre, but we really we're talking with Domenico about doing some stuff for diabetics. We're talking about maybe doing some more work with the poor and things like that. But, you know, we need the funds. So you put the funds in, we're not taking it. We don't take anything out of it, even our expenses, really, do we?
No, nothing. Right.
Are we going through something darker before we can see the light?
Well, I think this is darker times now, isn't it?
I think there's always a darkness before the dawn.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
And I think...
it's been like an awakening, really,
and
around the planet.
And I say, even in the darkest of times, you can still be in the light. You know, you can still be awake. You can still be
Scotland's
alive.
Been in the darkness because they had problems with electricity.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah. But no, spiritually speaking, you know, obviously we do, you know, they say this age of Kali Yuga is the best age to be born in. The best age to be born in the dark age because your light will brighten quicker. So, you know, the great ages of light, the great ages of Satya Yuga and Tetra Yuga and Dharma Yuga, all those other ages that they talk about. Yes, you can use other techniques, but in this age of darkness, it's the way to quicken yourself quicker. A day's work done in this lifetime is worth thousands of years in other lifetimes. So it's not a bad age to be in, actually. They say that many of the spirits of the yogis want to be incarnated in this time, in the darkest times, because it's the quickest time to awaken. Any news on the year we can expect to go golden age? Well, these things are not dependent upon time in the normal sense. It depends on our karmic position. So if each of us do more spiritual things, each of us that do and open spiritually, work with spiritual techniques, do good things and do spiritual things, it is changing the whole way things open. Because the golden age comes one person at a time. One person wakes up at a time. So you've got to be the person that wakes up. You've got to be the person that does the consciousness expansion, as it were. You've got to be the person that does the good deeds in the world and thinks good, acts good, and all those vibrations lift the aperture, as it were, turn up the dial for everybody. And if you become an enlightened being in this world, you don't only enlighten people around you, enlighten people in the next world too. And so we've got to all do it one at a time. So the time is in your hands, nobody else's.
Right. Misinformation.
That's a good name, actually.
Oh, what
she
happened?
disappeared. It got censored.
She hasn't got enough
It got
information.
It got censored.
Lady Penelope, you need a call-in centre.
Yeah, not a bad idea. That could be something maybe we could consider one day. And once we've got charitable status, we can do a lot more things, actually. We can have a button on YouTube, for example, where you can have a subscribe button, I believe. And we could do things like that. And I could even set those sort of lines up easy enough with my knowledge of those things. Queen of Wands. Would you do a video on Myanmar? Well, the problem is people are asking, can you do a video on every single country under the sun I've had so far? So I've done Europe, we did one on. I'm doing one on at the moment. And Russia, I'm doing one you've seen up. I tried to do one on Australia for predictions and things. But where do you stop, you know? And I get confused between Iceland and Ireland. So how can you trust me?
Nana, hope to come to the Concord Club. See you both next year when I get over the bless. Oh, you got COVID.
Oh, you got COVID
darling.
now. Oh, same, Nana.
Gosh.
There's a lot of people have had it now, but it's not so bad once people. It seems to be getting easier on people sometimes. I know now. Hi, Craig and Jane. I will definitely be joining you on your on your Patreon. Oh, thanks, Christina. It will have to be after Christmas. So
Yeah,
sorry, that's fine. You know,
Yeah.
any time. You know,
And you had to
it's
put,
appreciated.
also
that
you had to put
anybody
the
does
new
it.
names up on there. Most important.
Yeah,
Craig.
we've got to renew
Been
the
so
video at the
busy.
end. So sorry to some of the patrons because we've let that one go a little bit. Thank you for my message from my brother and son when I came to see
Which
you
one
at the
gave
Concord
it? Was
Club.
it me or was it Craig?
You gave
Sarah?
me peace of mind.
Which one, Sarah? Was it Craig or Jane?
One or the other of us. It's got to be
Oh,
one of
I
us.
know. I've got it.
Yeah.
Yes, I've got you. You were set in the front. You had long hair, and you had a brother and a son. And was the name Alex?
Thank you so much, Jane, for your lovely messages.
Oh, that's okay. And congratulations on passing your maths test. And I know you're going to be a great lawyer, Justin.
You know Justin, Facebook, I see.
Well, you know him too.
Do I?
He's gone there.
Oh, okay. I forget everybody. I'm useless. Linda Smith. Oh, you're such a lovely couple.
We
kiss,
are,
kiss,
Craig,
kiss. Aren't we
we?
lovely?
I'm a
We are
fabulous
so
woman.
nice. We are so nice. Why can't everybody be like us?
Thank you.
Thank you. I see what's happening. Spirit guides trying to tell me, and I just need to listen more. Sending you guys love. Want to help, maybe a healer.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice.
well, if he's following a healing path, that's very nice,
That's a
actually.
lovely thing to
Because,
do.
I mean, it's a good thing. It takes dedication. It's all part of...
I like
know,
that name, Precious
karmic
Devere.
yoga.
I feel so happy to see you both. Great wisdom. Lovely, precious, beautiful name, isn't it?
Great wisdom, and we've chosen a topic the seediest tonight's topic.
Oh, and Justin loves our Facebook and YouTube lives. Craig.
Yeah, thanks, Justin.
he's
That's nice of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean a physical call centre, like a health centre. Oh, a drop-in centre, she must mean, like a health centre. Yeah, that's what we'd like.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be
it will
fantastic to
happen.
have a place where we could, for example... Oh, I mean, I like to teach
Tune
Kriya
in,
Yoga,
tune
for
out.
example, and
Timothy
teach
Leary.
meditation, sorry. A
Tune-
drop-out centre, that is Timothy Leary. But I think it would be nice to have something physically where we can meet people. Where is it though?
Yeah.
Is it London? Is it Winchester?
Yeah,
Is it abroad?
anywhere.
India?
Justin, I know your father's looking down on you and guiding you, and be so proud of you, darling.
Thank you so much, guys. Night, night, morganschooloфenglish.com. I
Night,
wonder if
night.
they've got a website.
Yeah, I wonder. So English.
Sheila's
God
saying,
bless
God
Craig.
bless Craig, Jane and Domenico, who's in the background doing all the work
Yeah,
in the
he's
background.
good.
Thank you for giving a platform for this subject. It's important to get justice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's always the last thing that seems to come with the law of justice.
TJ, you two are awesome. Love your sense of humour.
Can't spell humour, must be American. My name is Morgan. So is the Morgan School of English. I'm an English teacher. See, I picked that up, you see. I picked that up there.
Agility. Bits, thank you both in Domenico for another great evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, because we couldn't do all this if it wasn't for Domenico.
Yeah, because Domenico does, again, like us with our theatres, does it all for free. You know, nothing. He got a cup of coffee. He got a cup of coffee today. He was lucky.
You need some new
He got-
teeth.
Yeah.
Not only glasses.
Perhaps I should have false teeth and put them in upside down. Yeah.
They would understand you better.
Might sound right then, it'd come out right, yeah. As you get older, it gets worse. We'll probably be here
Speak
sat
for yourself.
eating milk sop on screen.
God, heaven forbid.
Jane, how are we doing?
Yeah. Julia, another wonderful evening spent. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Julia.
Julia.
I love
Sarah A.
you.
Fudge. Oh, that's nice. I thought it said Sarah Ferguson for a minute.
Oh, she watches. I know a lot of famous people do watch us.
Thank you all for another great evening. Have a lovely weekend. And you too, Apple.
Nightly. What does he mean by that?
Precious, nighty night.
Oh, nighty. Okay.
Not nighty what you wear.
I was going to put my nighty on.
God, I
Thank
hope
you for
not.
a great chat, as always, says Lisa.
You're going a bit crazy tonight. Thank you for answering my questions. Lovely people. Love your videos with all the love from Toronto,
Canada.
Thank you.
Lady Penelope,
Oh,
thanks Domenico.
Yeah, that's good.
I love watching you two. Would love to know if my loved ones on the other side look over me. Well, we can't really do personal readings on screen really here, I'm afraid.
Please tune in.
But you could come to the full moon readings for that type of thing on the patrons.
Or
Thank you so
Concord
much
Club.
again. All come to the Concord. We can hope for a better world.
Yeah, that's what we all,
indeed.
we all
Siram.
want, peace and love. And
I think
for
the very hoping for a
children.
better world in itself is a power.
Absolutely.
But knowing it will come is even a greater power. Thank you, says Sarah Ferguson. Or Sarah Fudge. Misread it.
Linda.
You two are a tonic.
Oh, thank you.
I quite like them too. They're good music. Pauline O'Gorman. Have a wonderful weekend. And I see here Pauline O'Gorman. She must be from Iceland. Ben M. Thanks both from Plymouth, Devon.
Oh, that's nice. Devon's lovely.
Iceland.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is
it
that
looks like
it?
we're coming to the end.
Oh.
I adore you both. Half of this programme is just people adoring us, Jane. I think we should perhaps cut the middle bit out and just say hello
You're getting
and then
them
say
to
goodbye.
touch your feet next.
Yeah.
You're not
I
careful.
adore you both. Thank you for a lovely evening. We just do the hellos
I
and
must
goodbyes
say-
and make that the programme.
And thank you, Virginia. Oh, thank you, Nana. I hope you get better soon.
That looks like they've all finished now.
They've had enough of you.
They've had enough.
Had enough of you.
Probably my mic's going to go dead again. So we're going to say goodbye. Oh, subscribe!
God.
Of course, become a patron.
Where you're going silly. What have you got in that water?
Be happy. And my new book, Be Happy, of course, there. So there you go, folks.
Gosh. I think he's had too much water.
What's in here? What's in this? That's just water, Jane. Right. Okay, well, thanks for joining us. We're going to see you again soon, folks. We're going to say bye now then,
Yeah,
Jane.
and I'm definitely going to take this one home now.
I've got medications at home.
Yeah.
See you
Bye.
all. Bye for now. Namaste.
God bless.
Would you like to know more about the paranormal world? Craig Hamilton Parker's books are now available on Amazon. Explore the future. Discover what happens after death. Unlock the secrets of your dreams. Learn to develop your own psychic skills.